Hey guys, it's KingIntensity here, and welcome to my Silent Death Machine setup for the MK5. So this will be the beast setup for this light machine gun here, and the reason I chose this one is because 1, it has a decent rate of fire, 2, it's the first light LMG you unlock, so it's pretty easy to unlock, and 3, it has a clip instead of a belt-fed magazine, which means it's a lot easier to reload, it's a lot faster. Even though the magazine size is 45 compared to other light machine guns that might have 100, it does have that fast reloading clip, and so that is definitely going to be really good for the setup. And this is the type of setup that you're going to run around with a light machine gun and then kind of gun down a group of people. Say you're playing Rush or something and you sneak up behind the enemy team. This is one of those setups that you're going to want to use. So to start off, the optic I'm using is the hollow sight, and really your sight doesn't matter, it's just whatever you feel comfortable with using. So maybe you might want to use a coyote sight. I don't know if you can get that for light machine guns actually, but if you feel like using a different type of sight, then go ahead. But I feel most comfortable using the hollow sight, and I feel like I'm most accurate with that sight. So that's what you want to use. Now for the barrel, I'm using the R2 suppressor. There is absolutely no difference between all the different suppressors, and the R2 suppressor, I believe, is the first one you unlock, so you're going to want to go ahead and use that one for your barrel. And this really wouldn't be a silenced LMG setup if we didn't have a suppressor, so you want to go ahead and throw that on there. Now for the underbarrel, I'm using the stubby grip, and what the stubby grip does is it reduces your recoil by 15%, and so that's really useful when it comes to running and gunning, and just a general for the LMG, since they do have a lot of recoil. So you definitely want to use the stubby grip to sort of counteract that and while you're running and gunning people. So in my opinion, it's probably better than an angled grip or one of those type of grips, so I'd probably use the stubby grip for this setup. Now for my sidearm, I'm using the Shorty 12 gauge, and I actually never really used this until I tried the setup. I said, well, maybe I could give this a try and see if it's good, and it's actually really good with this setup, because if you do get in a situation where you run out of ammo with your primary and you got a bunch of guys in front of you, you can just whip out your 12 gauge and take out some guys before you have to reload your primary again. So it's really good for that, and I probably say it's better than the pistol for this setup, because usually I'm a big fan of using the P226. You'll see that in a lot of my setups, but instead I decided to switch to the Shorty 12 gauge, and it's actually really good for the setup. And so for the barrel, for that sidearm, I'm using a modified choke, pretty much the midway between the full choke and all those other things, so you just want to use that for this setup. Now for my first gadget, I'm using the Airburst, which pretty much it comes with the gun already, and it's really useful for taking out those targets that are a long distance away behind cover somewhere, or you just need to blow out a wall, maybe shoot at a tank or something. All good for that, so it's really useful to have as a gadget. Gadget 2, I'm using an ammo pack, and I really like the small ammo packs because you can kind of toss them over stuff to your teammate. You can throw them a good distance a ways, and so it's really useful for that. If you like using the ammo crate, then that's fine, but I prefer using the ammo packs. Now for your field upgrades. Right here, I kind of have indirect fire and perimeter defense, so you can use either one of those. I just kind of picked out some random ones. I actually don't have these unlocked yet. Usually what I use is just defense because it seems to be the best for me, but for this setup, I'd suggest using indirect fire or perimeter defense, and you can kind of see the stats on the screen here if you want to use either of those two. And finally, the last thing I have for you guys for this setup is grenades, and I'm using flashbang grenades. And the reason I'm using those as opposed to the V40 Mini or just regular grenades is it's really good for the setup, because I made this setup so you can kind of get behind big groups of people and just start mowing people over. So when you have flashbangs, you could just pop one of those and just kind of come around the corner and just start spraying people, and they'll be disoriented and their screen will be flashed, so they won't be able to see where you're at. And so it's really useful for that kind of stuff. And I don't think you'll see me use it in this clips, but I did have some times where I was playing a game on maybe like Operation Locker or something on Rush, and I would get behind the enemy team. I would just throw one of those. Everyone would just kind of not know what they're doing, and I just start mowing people down. And so it's really good for that type of thing. So I strongly suggest using flashbang grenades for this setup, so you can go ahead and try that out. But that is pretty much it, and that's all I have for this setup. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember to drop a like if you did enjoy it. Share it to wherever you want to, except Google Plus, because no one likes Google Plus. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see all of you beautiful people in my next video.